Now on the CTV News at 5, why Lethbridge has the second most expensive housing prices in the province. Plus, a Southern Alberta water quality advisory is lifted. And what one Canadian province is doing to open up hospital beds.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. We're glad you could join us. Lethbridge now has the second most expensive housing prices in all of Alberta. But some experts believe new home builds could help bring down housing costs. Quinn Keenan has more.
In June, Lethbridge real estate prices jumped 9.3% year over year to nearly $440,000 across all property types, according to a report from the Alberta Real Estate Association. Lethbridge now only trails Calgary, which has properties selling for nearly $600,000 on average.
There are some factors in Lethbridge that I think are affecting the value here. So I think it's a combination of the types of homes that are currently selling and a little bit of kind of what's happening in Lethbridge.
One of the biggest drivers in Lethbridge's price jump is a lack of supply. The city only has about a month and a half of supply of homes on the market. That lack of inventory is being caused in large part by people moving to the city.
You know, if you rewind time, I've been doing this for 15 years. If you rewind time even 5 years ago, you didn't get too many BC or Toronto phone calls coming in. But now you see a 416 area code, you'll kick your kids over to answer it because you know that's someone that just sold a place for $1 million in Toronto and they want to buy here.
The province says it's trying to speed up the home building process by cutting red tape to encourage more home building. So far this year, Alberta has seen 30% more home starts than last year. The Lethbridge Census metropolitan area saw 26% more home starts.
We're definitely seeing a strong start, 26% over last year, and last year was a really strong year. We haven't seen this first and second quarter this strong for the last decade, with the exception of 2022.
More homes on the market doesn't necessarily mean prices will drop soon. An influx of people moving to Lethbridge could offset any changes from more homes being on the market.
There's so many factors that affect that new home price, but it's nice to see that it has leveled off. That's great for the community to see. Again, there are different factors that affect that, but we are on par last year, so we're not seeing those crazy increases we saw the last few years.
Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The City of Lethbridge is asking residents for their feedback to help shape and improve city services. The city has launched its Community Satisfaction Survey to get insight about different programs and services offered by the municipality. The questionnaire will be done over the phone and online. In the past, the city has done a 20-minute survey every 4 years focused on the municipal operating budget. But this time, the city says the survey will help administration and different departments better understand what residents like and want improved.
New to the city is kind of setting these goals in each department, and lots of the departments identified that satisfaction survey as the key way to get information from our residents. So we really want to make sure that we're doing that on a frequent basis so those departments can be checking that measurement and going, are we meeting it? No, we're not. We need to be doing something different. So it has a lot of impact actually on how we're going to run our programs and services.
The city will be conducting the phone survey at random over the coming weeks. If you don't receive a call, you can fill out the survey at getinvolvedlethbridge.ca until August the 15th. New numbers from Statistics Canada show alcohol sales are slipping, especially here in Alberta. Across the country, alcohol sales fell slightly last year, according to the latest Stats Canada data, but Alberta saw one of the sharpest declines. In this province, the total value of liquor sales dropped by 1.4% through 2024, despite rising prices. Now, the polling data shows fewer people are drinking, and those who do are drinking less often. Toolshed Brewery in Calgary saw the trend coming and has been producing non-alcoholic beer for over 4 years. Its founder says that he sees the trend away from alcohol happening right in his own family.
You know, I have 3 sons in their 20s, and when they come out for a beer, they have a beer, and then they have a non-alc, and then they have a beer, and then they have a non-alc. It's very different than when I grew up. That was not the case. And I think 2 things. Number one, the generation nowadays is more, I would say they're more health conscious, they're more socially responsible. It's a different generation than when I grew up.
Well, alcohol sales are sliding. Cannabis is still on the rise. Albertans lead the country in consuming weed, rolling up nearly $765 million in legal cannabis sales. We've got more on this story coming up at 6. Verdicts in the 2018 World Junior Hockey sexual assault trial are expected this week. Michael McLeod, Carter Hart, Alex Formanton, Dylan Dubé, and Cal Foote are charged with sexually assaulting a woman in a hotel room in 2018 in Ottawa. They have all pled not guilty. The judge is expected to announce the verdicts Thursday at 8 a.m. Danielle Savoni has the forecast for us today. And Danielle, cool and damp today, but even cooler tomorrow.
Yeah, so today's daytime high in Lethbridge, 19, so a little cooler than yesterday of 22. And then tomorrow, yeah, we're looking maybe just struggling to be in those mid-teens. So a much cooler day, a cold wind out of the north, and rainfall. So already starting to kick into parts of the city, some isolated showers at this point. What we have is a cold front that's moving down. That's going to cool things. We may even have embedded thunderstorms in this as well. And we also have a huge upper level trough. So all of this is going to provide some rainfall. Not as much expected for the far south, but we'll talk totals in just a little bit. It's 19 degrees right now with showers just kicking in. It's 19 in Medicine Hat, 15 in Milk River, 20 in Brooks. More details coming up, Jackie.
All right. Thanks, Danielle. Well, it's been nearly 1 year since wildfires decimated the town of Jasper, and the community is continuing to slowly rebuild. The overall process to fully rebuild residential areas is expected to take anywhere from 5 to 10 years. A large number of homes cannot start rebuilding until their land is declared contaminant-free. The fire started July 22nd last year and hit the remote mountain town July 24th, destroying an incredible 1/3 of its structures. So far, 114 buildings have been cleared for construction. We've got more on the community's recovery efforts coming up at 6. Alberta Health Services has lifted the health water quality advisory for the water at Writing on Stone Provincial Park Beach. The advisory was put in place back on May 26th. AHS says water quality, including fecal bacteria levels, have returned to an acceptable level, and the health risk is low for usage of the river. AHS says visitors and residents, though, should never drink or cook with untreated water directly from any lake or reservoir. A researcher at Lethbridge Polytechnic is taking her knowledge and skills of developing low sugar and sugar-free ice cream to find new options to store sugar beets while maintaining sucrose integrity. Jappreet Groya spent years analyzing how ice cream can be used to preserve underutilized crops like Indian gooseberries and orange peels. She's now working at the Polytechnic and researching new long-term storage options for sugar beets. Her research aims to provide producers with another revenue source to reduce crop risk and increase revenue streams.
We are successful in preserving our sugar beet crop for more than a year, but we only claim for 6 months for that. So we are good to go with that, like we can preserve it and then they can use it in different products.
Sunday marked National Ice Cream Day, and Goroya is hoping that her research will spark conversations about food sustainability, health, and innovation. Canada's premiers are kicking off 3 days of meetings today in Ontario's cottage country. They will talk trade, tariffs, and protecting the economy. This meeting in Huntsville comes ahead of the trade deal deadline of August the 1st, set by U.S. President Trump. The Prime Minister will join premiers Tuesday to provide an update on those negotiations. Premiers are also expected to discuss energy, security, public safety, emergency management, immigration, and health care. They will also meet with Indigenous leaders to discuss moving nation-building projects forward. Ottawa is working to determine next steps on how to regulate artificial intelligence.
On one hand, Canada has been celebrated around the world as being an authority in the research of AI technology, and therefore he's got a little bit of a running start in our credibility. But on the other hand, we don't have the compute power in Canada. We don't have the scale in Canada to compete. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get past this ribbon cutting side of AI technology conversation and right into the work that needs to be done.
An ongoing court case in Ontario between ChatGPT's parent company, OpenAI, and news publishers may help chart the path forward. Minister of AI, Evan Solomon's office says Canada's AI regulatory approach will focus on protecting cultural sovereignty. Unionized Canada Post workers began voting today on the Crown Corporation's latest contract offer. The union has encouraged members to reject the deal. Meanwhile, research from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business finds a postal strike could cause 63% of businesses to stop using Canada Post permanently. CFIB estimates that the strike before Christmas cost small businesses up to $100 million a day. 71% responded to the disruptions by encouraging customers to use digital options, and 45% turned to private couriers. It's already time for our first break. Danielle has the 5-day forecast when we return. And we explain what one Canadian province is doing to open up hospital beds and ease the pressure on its healthcare system.
All right, here's your sky cam facing to the west. Now, yes, the clouds have rolled in, the showers have started, and the rain will be heavy at times tonight through tomorrow as well. We're looking at picking up some decent totals. Now, in Lethbridge, we're looking at less rainfall likely from this system compared to other communities. We'll talk more about rain totals in just a second here. Calgary got up to 19 today, so things have certainly cooled down in Calgary, and the cool down will continue to flow down to the far south because this is a cold front that's moving south here. So it's 18 in Lethbridge, 19 in Medicine Hat, and 15 in Milk River. So overall, yes, we are well below normal. This is a cooler day for tomorrow as well, and then temperatures will start to climb once again. Couple things going on here. We do have this cold front that's moving down from the south. What that's also doing is dragging in that smokier air in from the fires from the north and even in through Saskatchewan. It's going to kind of swirl it on in. So we're looking at smokier conditions tonight, likely just on the moderate part of the scale for the most part, but the closer you are to Saskatchewan, the smokier it may be, and you may at times get into that higher level of smoke. We also have a stateside system that's pushing some rainfall in. So there's kind of a lot swirling around here and a lot going on. The other key thing is with this cold front that's swiping through, it's sparking up some thunderstorms with this too. So that's going to add to some localized rainfall totals that are possible with this. Then we're looking at showers and thunderstorms possible through the overnight hours, and then the rain heavy at times throughout the day, especially in the morning hours tomorrow. It will start to lighten later in the day. And then we're just dealing with the cloud cover. So closer to the supper hours, we'll still see some isolated showers here and there in the far south, but we are looking at mainly it's starting to taper off and move on out. So by Wednesday, we are looking at sunshine, and that will help the temperatures climb back once again. Just to give you a general idea of rainfall totals possible, it looks like the bullseye area with this will be in and around Calgary, Kananaskis, down through Claresholm and off to the west, where upwards of 30 millimeters of rain is possible. But Lethbridge is on the outside edge of most of this activity, so you're looking at around 3 to 6 millimeters in Lethbridge in total, and about 2 millimeters in Medicine Hat. That's a bit of a light estimate, but that's the one model. I'm going to give you a breakdown here. East Kootenay area, 10 to 20 millimeters likely for tonight, with embedded thunderstorms in that. And then another 5 to 10 millimeters of rain possible tomorrow, and just a high of 16. We're also looking at those cold winds out of the north, so it'll be a cold, rainy day. So soggy for sure. 5 to 10 millimeters, Crow's Nest Pass, and then another 10 to 15 possible for tomorrow with a high of 13. So a good amount of rain likely there. Smokier conditions in the Medicine Hat area, showers possible, maybe a couple millimeters tonight, and then possibly another 5 to 10 with this tomorrow, and just a high of 17. And when we look at Lethbridge, smoky and showers tonight, but 3 to 6 millimeters and a high of 13 is likely for tomorrow. Then we get the sunshine starting to creep in on Wednesday once again. That'll get us back into those 20s and likely closer to that 30 mark for Thursday and Friday.
A significant increase in the number of measles cases over the weekend. Alberta Health Services is reporting 47 new cases across the province. 22 are in the South Health Zone. That is the Alberta hotspot, where there are 844 cases. Now, the total number of measles cases in Alberta since the outbreak began in March, that's now over 1,400. Alberta has the most cases per capita in all of North America. Children have the majority of cases. Measles is highly transmissible, and it is easily prevented with 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. It's a nationwide problem. Patients occupying hospital beds when they should be in a long-term care home. Now one province is employing a new strategy to try and cope. CTV's Sarah Plowman explains.
It's summer, but hospitals are overcrowded. Hundreds of beds taken up by people who don't need to be here but can't go home. many stuck waiting for a long-term care bed.
Approximately 40% of acute care beds are currently being used by patients who no longer require hospital-level care.
To relieve pressure, one of New Brunswick's health networks asked the province to approve a critical state protocol so patients at 4 overcrowded hospitals can be bumped to the top of the nursing home wait list. The province granted that wish for 30 days.
We do have beds available across the province. So the folks that are in hospital now are going to be prioritized for those beds. Now, the next step is making sure that we don't get here again.
In the next month, Horizon Health hopes to get more patients out the door. How many is hard to predict.
It depends on beds becoming available in these long-term care homes. Often they become available when, unfortunately, a patient passes away.
Shelley Poirier's family understands the agonizing wait. Her dad had a heart attack in May 2023. It took 17 months to be moved from the hospital.
We watched his mental health decline too, right? He started to get, quite depressed. And he, after such a long wait, he started to believe it was never going to happen.
Eventually, he did get a spot at a nursing home where he's 100 and happy. But she's concerned for others.
It's a huge system and a huge problem that's systemic.
New Brunswick's seniors advocate compared the issue to a financial deficit, a problem he believes governments keep passing down.
On a growing number of patients who are in acute care when they really need long-term care, and it's hurting those patients and it's destabilizing the urgent care system and putting everybody at risk, and it is going to require some drastic action.
Moving some to the top of this wait list means others will temporarily be bumped down. Horizon Health has asked for the public's patience, noting this is a short-term measure. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, the Albertan who is rewriting girls' junior golf history. The WCBL was back at it Sunday after the brief break for the All-Star Games. Now here's a look at how Southern Alberta teams made out. A tough day for the Bulls as they fell 12-0 to the Sylvan Lake Gulls. Brooks Bombers, meanwhile, grabbed a 14-8 win over Swift Current. Now the Bulls will have a couple of chances to get back into the win column today. They have a doubleheader with the Energy City Cactus Rats. Game 1 started at 4:35. Game 2 goes at 7:05. Medicine Mavericks, they are matching up against Swift Current tonight at 7:05. The Toronto Blue Jays open a crucial 3-game series at home against the New York Yankees tonight. The Jays are in first place in the American League East with the Yankees 3 games behind.
As Addison Barger hits one high and deep and gone.
The Jays are coming off an 8-6 win over the San Francisco Giants, sweeping the 3-game series. This also marks Toronto's 10th straight victory at home, matching a franchise record. George Springer, Addison Barger, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. all homered for the Jays. Toronto right-hander Kevin Gausman will get the start tonight. A teenager with Calgary connections has made Canadian junior golf history. 15-year-old Aphrodite Dang won the U.S. Girls Junior Championship over the weekend in Atlanta. The Calgary-born golfer is the first Canadian to accomplish the feat. With her victory, Dang will receive an exemption into next year's U.S. Women's Open and will likely get invited to the amateur women's tournament at Augusta. Scotty Scheffler is now a 4-time major golf champion. After a dominant win at the British Open, the world's #1 golfer dominated the tournament, shooting a 68 to win by 4 shots. It's Scheffler's second major victory of the year after the PGA Championship, and now he goes to the U.S. Open next year with a chance to complete the Grand Slam. David Beckham may be one of the most legendary English soccer players to ever play the game, but he might need to work on his haircutting skills.
What have you done?
It's not funny.
Let me see. I mean, the hours of content that the kids have got from this.
The clip ahead fell off.
Beckham had a bit of a hiccup with the clippers while he was trimming his hair, leaving a bald patch on the top of his head. He posted the video on social media. If he was looking for sympathy, he wasn't getting any from his wife. Victoria Beckham had a field day, laughing off camera and joking about how their kids will have hours of content out of this. Shohei Ohtani has done it all, a powerhouse at the plate, a star on the mound. Now he's adding author to his list of accomplishments. The MLB superstar has co-written a children's book inspired by his beloved dog, Decoy. The story follows Decoy as he's tasked with throwing the first pitch on opening day. Only one problem, he forgets the ball at home. The heartwarming tale, Decoy Saves Opening Day, is set to hit bookstores in February of 2026. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, the story of how a competitive strongman became a professional artist. Now to the story of a competitive strongman becoming a professional artist. Adam Swatsky reports from Saanich, BC.
Jesse Campbell will never forget when he decided to compete in his first strongman competition as a lark.
I was never really athletic as a kid.
So you can imagine how it felt when he not only realized what his body was capable of, but how competitive he could be.
That was the first time I ever won like a trophy in anything.
And it proved to be anything but beginner's luck.
So I've been kind of chasing that high ever since.
And thanks to countless hours of training ever since, including multiple reps deadlifting his truck, Jesse's won dozens of local, provincial, national, and world competitions, realizing misconceptions along the way.
We think of these big aggro men with covered in tattoos, and there's a lot of that for sure. But more so, it's we all understand what's involved in the effort, and we cheer each other on.
And that, Jesse says, inspired him to be more patient, more empathetic, and more willing to reconsider what he had been cheered for since he was a child.
Because everyone wanted me to be an artist. I didn't want to do what people wanted to tell me to do, so I decided to go the opposite direction.
After spending years doing the opposite, Jesse felt empowered to step out of the box and put the same effort into art.
You can't just think your way into a painting. You actually have to do it.
So Jesse implemented the skill set that made him successful in sport, including patience and persistence, to start creating almost a dozen murals that have proved to be both physically challenging and artistically satisfying.
So the original intention behind this piece was acknowledging the sort of the animal athletes in our lives.
Fittingly created across from a sports field, Jesse, who's Métis, commissioned a Coast Salish artist to create designs for his mural. It's a balance of images that's similar to the way Jesse is now unifying the different aspects of himself.
It's just removing that conception of you have to be like this or like that. You can be whatever you want to be. As long as you're interested, you can find a way. Where that takes you is up to you.
Adam Swatsky, CTV News, Saanich.
Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.